Hey everybody, Tony D and Little Joan here with a final hot take. It's my sixth or seventh take. I just keep getting interrupted. I'm out of the zone. Let me try this from a different angle. First up, smash like, etc., etc. Check out my books, etc., etc. BitChute and Rumble also on that. Right, Little Joan? Right, Little Joan? She's getting tired. But the big thing is I will be streaming for EvilCon tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. and 8 o'clock p.m. The first panel is the Pineys. It's going to be a reading, and I'll discuss the books. The next one at 8 is going to be, well, it's called by the con organizers as an evening with Tony DiGerolamo. It sounds like I'd be serving you little hors d'oeuvres while we chat over wine. But since I can't do that on the web, I'll just pretend like I am. And we'll talk about writing or whatever else you want to talk about. So join me then. You can get to the stream by going to evilcon.com, and then I think you have to register. So just to let you know ahead of time, I could not find anything on Streamlabs. I'm still trying to get in contact with their tech guy, and hopefully we'll have it all straightened out by tomorrow. I tried to do a test run tonight. I was going to be an attendee at one of the things, but I couldn't get it to work. I sort of stepped in and out. Now, the headlines. Tennessee lawmakers introduced bill allowing fathers to say an abortion, which, okay. I mean, look, I think most human beings would be a little unnerved if you hooked up with some girl and then years later you run into her and you find out she had an abortion with your kid. I think you would have been, that would impact you. So maybe this would be a good thing, if it was worded correctly. I'm not suggesting anybody should be forced to have a kid, but certainly the father could maybe say, hey, maybe we can make this work. I'd like to be a dad or whatever. Let's not just rush into anything. And maybe some women would be on board with that too. I mean, maybe they don't know. It would be a tragedy, certainly the other way, right? A woman has an abortion and then finally tells the guy, and he says, "Oh, I would have loved that," and she says, "Oh, I didn't think you wanted it." You'd want to avoid something like that, I would think. So I'm not saying the father should get final say, but I think they should have some kind of say. Biden administration prepares way for banks to refuse service to Democrats' enemies. This is a real article. This is from the Federalist. And this, I talked about this. It started brewing a couple of weeks ago. Basically, there was this Obama-era operation called Operation Choke Point, and they essentially went after conservatives. Well, Operation Choke Point did, but they went after conservatives using the IRS, conservative groups. Operation Choke Point was supposed to go after criminals, but it ended up going after people in the porn industry and related industries that were legal, and they couldn't get any kind of banking service. So imagine you're operating a legal business and your bank just says, no, we don't like it. This is total hypocrisy from the left. It's total hypocrisy from, you want to go back in your bed, Joan? Here. Good night. Total hypocrisy from a guy like Biden, right? I'm sure he'd be the first to scream bloody murder if, for instance, a bakery didn't want to bake a gay wedding cake. I think that's wrong to force people to work, just like I think it's wrong to force people to do anything. There's some daylight here, and if the banks can refuse service to anyone they want, so certainly the bakers should be able to do that, and let the chips fall by where they may. Now, I'm not saying that you can't boycott them. If you think, oh, you're being homophobic, I'm never getting a cake from you again, it's perfectly fine. But this idea that we can force people to do certain things and not force people to do other things, it's this idea that the Democrats always had of remaking society. They want to remake society and make everybody good. But they confuse that with making everybody think the same, which sounds good if you think you're so right and righteous and wonderful. But the reality is, you don't know everything. So even if you could, you as a person, get everybody to think like you, yeah, it would be great until you made a mistake. And then it would be a GD disaster. And that's what the Democrats are headed for. They're headed for disaster with this because, it's like socialism. The idea is so good, you need to force them at gunpoint. It's kind of where they're headed. They're headed in the direction, we have to deplatform you and we have to force you to do all these things and fine you because you're a bad person. No, morality policing will not work. And in fact, it just causes more problems. So don't do this, Biden, and keep watching the skies on this one because they're going to have some bill up soon and we're going to have to fight it. And fight it, I mean, writing your congressman, writing your senator. Global warming. This is from the Post-Millennial, if I can find the link. Yeah, here it is. John Kerry. Watch. There's no faking this one. John Kerry says we have 9 years before climate catastrophe. Well, the upshot of this is John Kerry's in charge of the climate change, which means it's going nowhere fast. John Kerry's another hypocrite. He flies around the world on jets, spewing out carbon emissions. Oh, but we have to do stuff. Not John Kerry. Oh, John Kerry's too important. Not Bill Gates. Bill Gates is too important. He's another climate warrior. All these guys, they want you to sacrifice for the environment, not them. When they talk about, cleaning up the environment and a lot of work's involved and sacrifice, they mean you. They don't mean them. They don't sacrifice anything. They're all rich. Yeah, their idea of sacrifice is like, oh, I'll give you another $1,000. Here you go. Pat you on the head, send you on your way. Here's $1,000 for you. Hope you like it. I hope you like it. It's sickening. It's sickening. John Kerry, I've said it before, as a young guy, he was brave, and now he's just a rich douche, in my opinion. Sorry for the language. Continuing. Newsom recall drive faces. I read that wrong. Newsom recall drive faces tight finish based on latest California data. Of course. Because someone is messing with the numbers. Yeah, they didn't want signatures on your actual vote. Oh, but for a recall for a Democrat? We're going to have to validate those signatures very carefully. Oh, very carefully. Oh, this letter's not right. I think we have to invalidate that signature. Yeah. Meanwhile, they had I've heard, in some elections, honk honk, wink wink, that they had hundreds and hundreds of ballots with the same damn name on them in the same handwriting with the wrong things. Oh, but they counted just fine. See, they count when they're Democrat votes. That's the rule. In pandemic news, according to Angela Merkel, leader of Germany, pandemic will be with us until everyone on Earth is given a beer virus vaccine. That's what she said after the G7 summit, apparently, according to RT News. That sounds realistic, doesn't it? Every single person on Earth, billions of people vaccinated. Yeah, that sounds easy. This is why Germany's in a permanent lockdown. Whistleblower. Coca-Cola forces employees to complete online training telling them to be, quote, to try to be less white. Critical race theory, man. It's poisoning everything it touches. It's a shame. I used to drink Coke. That would be my preferred soda beverage. Now, forget it. I'm out of Coke. Done. Forever. Goodbye. Women dressed up as grannies to get beer virus vaccine. From WND. Listen, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. In fact, I was one of the first people to say, watch out for this virus, put on a mask. One of the first people that did it. I was wearing a mask before any of you. Trust me on that, because I got the heads up from Zero Hedge. But that was back when the virus supposedly had a 3% lethality. We now know that's not the case. Okay? So calm your S down. All right? Unless you're in your 70s and you've got comorbidities or you have comorbidities, you're not in very much danger. It's infinitesimal. Okay? Let the old people and those with comorbidities get their vaccines before anybody else. Don't be an idiot. Now, I personally, I'm not going to get the vaccine. I'm fine with social distancing and the mask, I guess. I got to do it anyway. I'm in New Jersey. But the vaccine, yeah, I'll wait on it because, there is an infinitesimal chance that the vaccine can have a reaction. I have allergies. I might have a bad allergic reaction. There's no chance if I don't take the vaccine. And the chances of me dying of the beer virus are like 0.001. 2, maybe 3, let's say. Let's be generous. So 1 in a million. And that's assuming I even get it, or that I already had it. I could have already had it. Remember, there's no symptoms for some people. They got it and they didn't even know it. That was part of the reason it spread so readily. I live in New Jersey. It was an epicenter up north, not down here. Could already have had it. I could have had it multiple times. I don't know. I should probably get tested for the antibodies, but I don't even think those tests are reliable. It's a new virus. So, no, I don't need it. I let old people and people with comorbidities go ahead in the line. I'm perfectly fine with that. Even if I wanted to get it, I couldn't get one until May at the earliest. The earliest possible time would be May. All right? That's months from now. Okay? I'll be fine. And by the time May rolls around, it'll be warm. There'll be even less chance of you getting it. So, calm your ass down. Do not disguise yourself as a granny to jump the line. That's ridiculous. People are just going nuts with this stuff. Oh my gosh. Social network Gab goes offline, disappears from Twitter. Well, typical. Typical Twitter. I mean, these guys are censorious, in my view. Anybody can go like that. That's why I say you got to follow me on BitChute and Rumble. You got to follow people on multiple platforms. It's the only way. I'm a big fan of Sargon of Akkad now on the Lotus Eaters at the lotuseaters.com. He got the platform. I couldn't find him for a while because I wasn't hooked into these other sites. And now that I am, if he goes off of one, I'll just follow him on the other. They deplatformed his Reddit. He had a subreddit. It's quarantined. It's been quarantined for months, maybe a year. And you even get flagged on Reddit if you post there too much. It's ridiculous. So, you got to follow people on other stuff. That's all there is to it. After a month and a half, the D.C. police have not released the name of Ashley Babbitt's killer. What's going on? Yeah, that's strange. Somebody gets shot in the inner city, and it's, the cops' names and pictures are released all over. They get doxxed out the wazoo. This guy, he gets protected. Why does he get protected and the other cops get doxxed and thrown in jail? You got to have one system. That's the big thing. You can't have a two-tier system like this. You have to have a system that's fair. Democrats, let me tell you about an unfair system. If you have an unfair system, the people on the unfair side will do something eventually. You could do it for a while. Yeah, you can oppress people. That's oppression, by the way. But look at the Arab Spring. Those guys, they went cuckoo bananas. Cuckoo bananas. You don't want that to happen in your country. That's banana republic stuff. You got to stop doing this. I get it. You like power. You like to use it. You got to use it legally. What else? Governor DeSantis says flags in Florida will be lowered to half staff to honor Rush Limbaugh. Oh, Joan wants attention again. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Whatever. DeSantis is rapidly becoming the next candidate for president if Trump doesn't run. Certainly he'd be a good VP. from WND, voters now believe Joe Biden is a puppet of the far left. I don't know if you'd say he's a puppet, but he's definitely willing to placate them. He's just willing to do whatever he can to line his own pocket, I think. I think that's always been his deal. I don't think he has any ambition other than to be super rich, like ridiculously rich. I think he loves driving that vintage car and having servants and all that stuff. I think he just wants more of it. Just more of it, like a ridiculous amount of money. He wants to die on a pile of cash, 2 stories tall or more. He wants to be Trump, essentially. Ironically. Cruz talks about Cancun flight, says he had second thoughts almost immediately. Yeah, Cruz, that was just a bad optics maneuver. He probably had the thing scheduled months ago. He's a senator, for God's sake. Guy can't get any time off other than, the weekends, the long weekends they all get. But it seemed ill-timed with the winter in Texas after everything went kablooey. But again, he's not the governor of Texas. He just represents Texas in Washington. So it's hardly the same thing. It's different when you're governor. When you're governor, you're actually responsible for Texas and its constituents. He's responsible on a national level for the constituents of Texas. There's plenty of other things to complain about for Ted Cruz, I'm sure, but this is a dumb one. He doesn't have a direct access to go, oh, we got to get, some more power lines over here or this and that. Like, he doesn't have that kind of power. He makes national decisions on behalf of Texas. But, leftist. AOC mad at Biden's student loan forgiveness plan isn't socialist enough. Yeah, she is now turning up the juice. She also went at Cuomo, throwing Cuomo under the bus. Doesn't surprise me. AOC is, she knows where the attention grabbing is. And she's probably got the okay from the National Party to throw Cuomo on the bus. Under the bus. I'm sensing that Cuomo is going to be the sacrificial lamb in the beer virus case. They're gonna blame it all on him, and then say, "Oh, that's why everything went wrong." You see, it's not our fault. It was Cuomo's fault. Facebook says it will fact check global warming misinformation. Get off of Facebook. That's all I can say. Look, I'm on it. I promote on it, but that's it. I don't consider it a place that I can have a real discussion. I mean, I still know people. The convention guys are talking to me on Messenger. I don't like using it, but sometimes I have to. Save it. I'm not saying delete your account. I'm saying just don't expect to have a private conversation on it. It's not a private thing. It's just not. So if you're going to discuss politics on there, I think you're out of your mind. You got to go to WhatsApp or any of these other things. I got this Clubhouse thing. Something that's encrypted that no one can see. That's what you need. Man, there's a lot of well, it's mostly reprints and celebrity news. A lot of weird celebrity news on Gab Trends today. I don't know why. Biden warns governors minimum wage hike won't happen even with Dems in control. Well, that should tell you right there. Those of you who voted for Biden, you're idiots. You're idiots for voting for him. He's screwing you over. He's not giving you debt relief. He's not giving you a minimum wage. He is ginning up the war machine and moving troops out. That's all he wanted to do. And, line his own pocket. 2 stacks Biden, as Sargon of Akkad calls him. Speaking of which, here's his Lotus Eater site, which I just joined. He's got news on here. And this is a news story, what Sargon, Carl Benjamin, called the most petty piece of legislation he's ever heard. It's called the No Glory for Hate Act. It's sponsored by Representative Linda Sanchez D. of California, surprise, surprise, and co-sponsored by 13 other Democrats. The bill calls for a ban on twice impeached presidents from being buried in Arlington National Cemetery. Even if such president is cremated, the ashes could not be retained on Arlington grounds either. Isn't that insane? First off, Trump was acquitted both times, so I don't know if that counts as being impeached, but I'm sure they'll say that it counts because it's just about going after Trump. I don't know if Trump like actually seriously cares about this. He's so rich. I mean, I'm sure his mausoleum's going to be 3 stories high and have a floor of casinos, and slot machines and big neon signs saying Trump. But you know, so what? It's dumb. What a waste of money. These people really ought to be ashamed of themselves passing a bill like that. Oh, John Kerry, we did that one. Just the news. Poll: solid majority of voters oppose ending national anthem during sporting events. Yeah, no kidding. Do you understand, liberals, who watches sports? Not you. Only very liberal voters support any proposal to end American tradition, the poll registered U.S. voters found. It's a tradition. Leave it alone. Stop being a-holes. And finally, Beijing wants to sway U.S. policy using climate change, experts warn. From the Epoch Times, the Biden administration should not allow Chinese regime to use climate change as a bargaining chip to extract concessions in other area, according to a China expert. The warning comes as the United States, or 2 China experts, plural. The warning comes from the United States formally rejoined the U.S. The Paris Agreement on February 19th. President Joe Biden has described climate change as an existential threat and vowed to do more to reduce carbon emissions, even though we're one of the lowest ones. But analysts are concerned that this may lead the United States to become cozier with the Chinese regime. Of course it will. They pollute all they want, which is why their stuff is cheap, why their people are oppressed, and they're forced to work, and they're forced to breathe terrible air. And, we buy their cheap products. So Biden is, he's in the pocket of these guys. So they're already bragging about it. This was covered on the Lotus Eaters and plenty of other places. 2 stacks Biden, they call. He is in the pocket of the Chinese. He'll be happy to do this because he'll make tons of money and he won't suffer the effects. He's almost in his 80s. How much longer is this old mummy gonna live? Not that much longer, but he'll get another vintage card. Oh, and another 3 or 4 houses. It'd be fabulous. A presidential library. Oh, the fabulous presidential library might have a Joe Biden little video of him driving up in his car with the big guy on the license plate, and history will be completely rewritten in there, so you won't have to worry about the tough questions the reporters ask about Hunter, or all his many gaffes will be edited out. It'll be like heaven for Joe Biden. And it'll probably cost us a fortune in taxpayer money. But that's what presidents get now, right? They get this bizarre, Trump, he probably won't even get a library, or he'll have to raise the money himself. But a guy like Biden, oh yeah, he'll have one. It'll be a shrine. Maybe they'll bury him there and preserve his body, and every day the body will rise up on strings and greet people in an animatronic voice. Hollywood could help him with that. Hello, welcome to the Biden Museum. Come on, man, come see what I got to show you. I've done too many takes of this. That's it for tonight. Say bye, John. We're out of here. See you tomorrow.